Hi everyone, this is Crispy1001 at kpcoastal.com. This is a video on rigging a landing gear and then animating it. This video was requested by Billy, aka Road King 495, and the model that we're going to be using for the video was donated by Road King or Billy. Steps that we're going to take to rig the landing gear are to set the object's origin for pivot points, set object parents, set object constraints, and then we will animate the landing gear. Now there's several different ways to animate an object. We're going to be using, I think, is the easiest way to do it. But the ways that you can do it, you can either use an object as your pivot point and then parent an object to that object, and then whatever the child does, or whatever the parent does, the child will do that you parent to. But doing that, you have to set up an object that will be used as the pivot point. What we're going to be doing is actually taking the origin of the object and using that for the pivot point. And then you can also use bones. Bones would be much harder to do or to set it up. And then usually bones are usually used for the whole, if you're going to be having one mesh and you're going to be animating it most of the time. So what we're going to be doing is actually animating individual objects, and the method we're going to be using is the easiest way to do it. So let's get started. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is first find the items or the objects that we need to animate. Now this landing gear has struts here and here, there and there. These are going to be solid rigged, so they will not have any animation to them because they're solid. This point here though will be pivoting, so this would be anchored or connected to the body or the fuselage of the plane. The landing gear would be moving and rotating up into the wheel well. So that means these here will have to be rotating this direction as the landing gear goes up. So we need to move the origin to the pivot point where we want it, or where we want the item to pivot at. So we're going to take the origin and move it down here. To do that, we're going to select the object. We're going to hit the slash on the numeric pad to hide everything but that object. We're going to go into edit mode. We're going to choose those vertices, and we're going to go shift and cursor to selected. That'll put our 3D cursor at the very middle of that. Oops, I picked some bottom ones, so let's redo that. I want it to be right in the middle, and because I chose these bottom ones as well, it kind of moved our pivot point off from center. So again, I'll go in and choose it again. So there, 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 and there. That's good. Let's go Shift S again and cursor to selected. That's better. Let's go out of edit mode and set origin and origin to 3D cursor. So now our origin of the object is where we want it to pivot at. And let's unhide everything. So now if I get this item and I want to rotate it, so R, you can see now it rotates exactly where we want it to. If we did not do that, we can see it by this one here, if we rotate, you can see it's going to rotate where the pivot's at, or where the origin is. So that's why we're moving the origin. So let's do this one as well. Let's hide everything but it by hitting the slash. Go into edit mode. Oops, I already had that one selected, but we'll choose it again. We'll choose that one, that one, that one, that one, that one, that one, and that one. And Shift S and cursor to selection. And that puts it right in the middle. Oops, I think I missed one. Right there. Oh, and there. Okay, let's try that again. So Shift S and cursor to selection. There we go. Go ahead out of edit mode. Set origin to 3D cursor. There we go. Let's unhide everything. And we'll rotate again. That's good. Now, the next thing we need to set up an origin for, we need to, let's do the main hydraulic ram first. So we'll click this, we'll go edit, scroll in, I'm going to hit C, and select all the top, hit enter, go out of edit mode, go set origin, origin to 3D cursor, oops, oh, I forgot to set the, that wasn't good, so let's go back to tab, let's go Shift S, cursor to selected, then go out of edit mode, set origin to 3D cursor, there we go, oops, alright, now the next place that we're going to have a pivot would be this arm here and this arm here. So we know it's going to have to pivot here, here, and here. I will want to parent this item here to the upper ram, and I want to parent this one to the lower ram. So that means I want to move my origin for the object here and here. And then to get the other pivot point, we're going to have to set up constraints. So we'll go ahead and move our origins first. So we'll do the top one. I'm going to hide everything but it. Go into edit mode. I'm going to choose these vertices. Let me hit Shift S and cursor to selection. I'm going to go set origin to 3D cursor. That's good. Unhide everything. And again, if we rotate, you can see it rotates exactly where we want it. So escape. Let's do the next point. Let's hide everything. Go into edit mode. Nope, I already have it selected, but we'll do it again. So you want to select those four, these four. Hit Shift S, cursor to selection, go out to edit mode, and go origin to 3D cursor. Unhide everything. And if we hit rotate, that one rotates good too now. Okay. I guess the next thing we'd want to set up the origin point. And I don't know if we're going to animate this part or not. Oh, it's already set up anyway. The origin point is in the middle, so that one's already set up. But if it wasn't, you would do the same thing. You would hide it so you can see it better. Go into edit mode and select these vertices. If you hold down the control and click, it will select them faster for you. I'm going to select these over here. Oops. And then we would have just went Shift S and cursor to selected. Oh, it wasn't in the middle. There we go. Now we are. So unselect. And let's hide everything. So now if we wanted that to rotate, that would rotate good. And you see now that we have all of our pivot points, we need to set up how we're going to do our parenting. Well, we know that if this bottom part moves, everything connected to it will move as well. So we want to select the wheels. That is part of that. So let's select the wheels and then select the part that you want to parent it to. Hit Control P and set parent to object. Hit addon select. Let's select that item again. And if we do a rotate again, now we see that our wheels will move with our main landing gear. So that's good. Now remember, we want to parent this to the bottom of the landing gear, which is this part. Well, actually the bottom of the ram, I'm sorry. So that'd be the next thing we need to do. We want to take the part that we parented the wheels to and parent that to the lower ram. So let's go Shift, click on it, do Control P, and set parent to object. So now this lower part is parented to the lower ram. We also need to parent this to the lower ram. So remember, select the item that you want to parent to the object first, and then the item you want to parent to last. It needs to be in yellow. And hit Control P and set parent to object. Now we want to take this item, we want to parent it to the top cylinder. Oops. So click that one and that one. Control P and set parent to object. We want to select, let's see. Okay, that's already part of that. So select this one, this one, this one, and this one. Then click your upper cylinder, and we want to parent all that to it. Control P, set parent to object. Now these struts here, we want to parent to these here. So we want to click on that one, then this one, and Control P to object. Select this one and this one. Control P. Okay, so we should have everything selected now. Okay, we forgot to move our origin to this one. So let's choose this. Okay, no, it is there. Okay, so now we can test to see if the whole landing gear will move as a whole. So I'm going to do a front orthographic view. I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to rotate it on the y-axis. Oops, we forgot to connect the lower ram to the upper ram. So let's escape. So now we're going to go in, we're going to select the lower part of the ram and the upper ram. We're going to do Control P and set parent to object. Now we'll reselect that upper or the larger ram. We're going to do a Control 1, and we will then again rotate on the y-axis. Okay, is good. Escape. Okay, so now we need to set up our constraints, because as you saw, these struts here, which would be connected to the body here, are moving with the landing gear as it goes up and staying straight. So let's rotate in Y again, and you can see they are not pivoting where they would be connected on the fuselage. So we're going to set up an item that's going to be used for our track 2. So we're going to escape. I'm going to select this one, go into edit mode. I'm going to choose these 4 vertices right here. I'm going to do Shift S, cursor to selected. Go out of edit mode. I'm going to go Shift A. And I'm going to go to a empty and go cube. Let's size it down a little bit. Okay, that's good. We need to rescale it, so we're going to do a Control A and scale. We're going to name it. We're going to call it underscore constraint 1. And enter. We're going to then duplicate it. So we're going to do a Shift D and in the Y direction. And that's close enough. We don't have to be exact. Well, yeah, let's make it pretty good. It should have been the same. So actually I need to rotate that one up a little bit. Oh, we'll just go ahead and move it down. So we're going to reset the origin here for this. So we'll click these, oops, that one, and that one. Shift S, cursor to selected. Then we're going to get out of edit mode. We're going to click on this one. We're going to do a Shift S and selection to cursor. There we go. So now we have both of those the same. We're going to rename this one now. And we're going to call it number 2. Okay. And then these would be parented to the fuselage. But because I don't have the fuselage here, we're going to parent it to the wheel well. So we're going to go Control P and set object or parent object. The next place we're going to need them is down here, but we're going to go ahead and take care of the constraints up here first. So we are going to select this item or this object. We're going to go to our constraints. We're going to add a constraint. We're going to do a track 2 constraint. We're going to select our object that we want to do it to, and we're going to choose the item here, and we want constraint 1. That's very good. And that should take care of that one. Now we're going to go over to the second one. We're going to set its constraint to number 2. Okay. Now, if we go back now and we do our rotate test again, choose that cylinder, we're going to rotate on the y-axis, that those should rotate for us right. We'll need to move those up a little bit though, because they're hitting, but you can see now how they track now. So we'll have to adjust them a little bit. But other than that, it's looking pretty good. Let's go escape. I'm going to select those two. Now remember, of course, you would have to adjust this for your fuselage. I don't have a fuselage, so I'm just going to move them where it's going to look better for the animation. So I'm going to grab them in the Z direction. We'll put them about right there. Choose the cylinder again. Zoom out a little bit. And we will rotate on Y. That's better. There we go. Okay, so we escaped there. We will save our progress so far. Okay, the next point we have, we want to set up our constraints for these two objects here, for this pivot point. So we're going to choose this one. I'm going to hit Tab. I'm going to choose these vertices, here. Choose these here. I'm going to go Control S and cursor to selected. That puts my pivot and my 3D cursor right in the middle of that. Okay, then I'm going to add another empty. So we're going to do a Shift A, empty, and Q. I'm going to scale this one. First, I'm going to go to Object, Properties. I'm going to go down, and I'm going to turn on X-ray. Then I'm going to size it down. I'm going to hit Control A and reset the scale. And we're going to rename this one Constraint 3. We're going to make a duplicate, or we're going to duplicate it. See where the, let's go to this one. I'm going to put it in wireframe mode so I can see. Okay, it is in different locations, so we'll center up on that. Let's go out of wireframe. I'm going to hide everything. Go into edit mode. I'm going to select these vertices. I'm going to hit Shift S, cursor to selected. A, and hide everything. I'm going to re-click on or select the empty constraint number 3. Looks like it's almost in the very same spot. Or did I move the 3D cursor yet? Let's see. Oops. Oh, I forgot to move it. Well, that's not very good. What did I do? Okay, so let's go Shift S again. Cursor to selection. Okay, well that time it did it. Oh, I think I did it because I hit it. So when you hide something and you move the 3D cursor, when you go back to unhidden, it doesn't stay, and that doesn't. So we're going to go into wireframe. We're going to go into edit mode. Now we're going to have to go to Shift S, cursor to selection. Okay, there we go. Then I can go out of wireframe, out of edit mode, reselect the empty constraint number 3. I'm going to do a Shift D to copy it and enter. I'm then going to do a Shift S and cursor or selection to cursor. Okay, that's good. We're going to rename this one to 4. Okay, so now we have our constraint track 2s made. Now what we have to do is just set them up. Okay, so we want this one to track to number 3. So we're going to add our constraint. Add constraint, track 2. And we want to track to number 3. Okay, we're going to have to flip it. You can see how it went in the opposite direction. So we're going to take the Y to -Y. That's good. And we'll select our lower pivot point or object. Add a constraint, track 2. And we will choose number 4. We're going to do the same thing with it. Go -Y. Okay, that one has some other issues, it looks like. Okay, why is it doing that? Well, no problem. We'll just rotate it. So, alright, so let's go in a top-down motion and view. Go into wireframe mode. We will rotate in the Z-axis. Escape. Go out of wireframe. Okay, so what we'll do, we will just move the constraint to put it where we want it. So we'll select that constraint. We will go to top view, go into wireframe mode, and we will grab in the X direction and rotate that where it should be. That looks good. Go out of wireframe mode. Okay, I don't have it good enough yet. It doesn't look like. Nope, I do not. Okay, so we're going to have to grab it again. Okay, that looks good enough. Okay, so we had to move our constraint just a little bit, but it looks good now. So we're going to save our progress. Save. Okay, now we're going to have to figure out how we're going to have to parent these to get them to move correctly. Because right now, if we move, okay, first we're going to have to set up a transformation item to do this, because now, because it's off the Z-axis, if I move this by doing a grab Z, you'll see it will not do it correctly. So we're going to escape. We're going to have to make a new object. I'm going to put our 3D cursor at this origin. So Shift S, cursor to selection. we're going to go Shift A. We're going to add a cube. And let's size it in the Z. And then size the whole thing. Let's turn on X-ray. I want to do a Shift A. Control A, and fix the scale. I'm going to grab it, move it up. I want to rotate it on the X-axis until I have it parallel. That looks good. Okay, so now we're going to hit the end to bring our transform, I guess this is called a transform window. I don't remember what this window is called, but hit the end to bring up the little tool window. And we want to go down to transform orientations. We want to click add. Then over here you'll see the transform. To create an orientation, we want to give it a name. So I really don't have a name for it, so we're just going to call it 1. And we want to use it after creation. And you can see down here it changed our transformation to the new orientation that we set up. Now I don't need it here. I will move it off to one of our other layers. I'm going to move it to our very last layer. I'm going to select our object that we want to move, hit N to remove that window, and then we're going to go grab, hit Z two times, and you'll see it'll do much better now. Now you can see that the bottom one is starting to track, but the top one will not move because it has nothing to track to. And we need both of these to move the same. So we're going to have to figure out how to do that. And it depends on how you parent them. Okay, so what we want to do, we want to take this one here, and we want to parent it to this one here. Control P, set to parent. We want to take this constraint here and parent it to this object here. Control P, set object, parent to object. Let's scroll out. Let's do grab Z 2 times, and there we go. So now all we have to do is animate. Escape. Okay, so we know that for landing gear, for the animation, let's initialize the tool set. We'll type in gear. And left gear. Oops. That's not cool. Sorry. Okay, there we go. So our gear animation is going to be 0 to 200. Now, of course, you're going to have to mark everything that's going to be animated with this. So you also have to assign it to this one, assign it to this one, assign it to that one, and assign it to that one. So that should have did all of them. Yep. Yep. And let's see, I think this is the this might have been the right landing gear, but it doesn't make a difference. Oh, wait a minute. That's in the front, the back. So no, this is the left landing gear. So that's good. I give it the left gear. And if we animate this one's also going to have it. And we're also going to have our Willwell door assigned. Okay. Let's go File and Save. Okay. So, in FSX, your landing gear is up first. This door will be closed. So let's go ahead and close this door. So we want to rotate it in the Y direction 90 degrees. So that is set. And then we'll put our wheel up in there. So select it there. We will go rotate Y. Oops. That looks like it's going to show through some. Well, we would just have to extend that, but we're not going to worry about that. Okay, so everything's up into its place now. So we are going to go File and Save. We're going to do a key for this first location. So we're going to go I and rotation, I and rotation, I and rotation, I and rotation. Boy, these parts don't fit in there very good, but it's good enough for now. I rotation, I rotation, I rotation. Okay, so everything has its starting position. We're going to have the door open before our landing gear comes down. So we'll do it we'll give it about 10. So we'll move to the 10th position. Actually, let's go 15. Hit Enter. We're going to click on our door. We're going to rotate Y minus 90 degrees. Hit hit Enter, hit I and rotation. Now I'm going to add another rotation for everything again. So I'm going to go I for rotation, I rotation, I rotation, I rotation, I rotation, and I rotation. Okay, now we're going to start bringing down our landing gear. And let's see, we'll go to we went 15, then we'll go to 85. So let's go to 85. We will go rotate Y, bring it down, we'll go I and rotation, I rotation, I rotation, I rotation, I rotation. We will now close our landing gear door. So we will go rotate Y 90. Oh, wait a minute. No, escape. We want to do a keyframe there. Let's see. Yes, we want to do a keyframe here because if we do it right now, it's going to start closing from our 15. We don't want it to do that. We want it to start closing after the landing gear get completely down and then start. So we need to do a keyframe. Rotation. Now we're going to move to 100. We're going to rotate Y 90 degrees. Ooh, what'd I do? See doopsie. Okay. Rotate Y 90. Enter. I rotation. We wouldn't add rotations, find keyframes or everything again. You probably don't have to. I'm just in the habit of doing it. Okay. Now that's to that point. Next we will do our shock. But let's go ahead and play that and see what it looks like. Let's see. Oops. And we will hit play. There we go, not bad. Let's go back to 0, or actually let's go back to 100. And now we're going to be working on our shock. So here, let's see, we have keyframes everywhere. Now on this part, it's really trial and error. You're going to have to see how it looks in the flight simulator. I haven't did much with the shocks to see how they work in animations. I did do a little bit, I believe, on my Jadel project, but it's something you have to keep working with. So I'll just show you how you do the keyframes, and then you got to work on it yourself to figure out what looks best for your model. So we're going to click on the lower RAM. We have keyframes already for, oh, we don't. Oh, did I forget to do it for this? Oh man, I did. So I'm going to have to go all the way back to 0. I think I have keyframes for everything else. Yep, I do. Alright, so I'm going to click on that lower RAM. I'm going to hit I for location, not rotation on this one. So location. And then we're going to go to 15. And we're going to go I and location. We're going to go to 85. We're going to get eye and location. I'm going to go to 100. We're going to go eye and location. Okay. So now I'm going to go to, let's say, 180. And I'm going to grab in the Z direction. I'm going to move it up to about there. I'm going to hit eye, location. I'm going to click on this one to eye, rotation, eye, rotation, eye, rotation, eye, rotation, eye, rotation, eye, rotation. And then I'm going to go to 200 and bring it back down just a little bit. So we're going to do grab Z, bring it, escape, grab Z, bring it down just a little bit. Go eye, location, eye, rotation, eye, rotation, eye, rotation, eye, rotation, eye, rotation, eye, rotation. Now I forgot that we put this with a key. I tagged it with an animation too. We're not going to animate this part. So I'm going to clear that animation for a tag. If you don't clear it and you don't animate it, you can get errors when you try to export your model. So let's go File and Save. Let's go to 0. And now we will play it. Okay, I have found a problem that we have in the animation. You can see right here how our lower arms on our ram are twisted as we raise and lower the main landing gear. If we go ahead and play it, you'll see how as it goes down, it's twisting into place. And we do not want that. So what we're going to need to do, choose the object that is having the problem, go to the constraints, and under Target Z, click Target Z, and hit Target Z. And we'll replay the animation. Let's go to 0. As you can see here now, it's nice and straight. It's not messed up like it was before. We'll hit play. It goes down nice and neat. And that has taken care of that problem. Let's do another angle. And it looks pretty good. Stop the animation, put it back to 0. Remember to put it back to 0 before you export your project, or you're going to truncate your animations. Okay, so I hope this was helpful for everyone, and I thank you for watching. Bye.